there is a little bit of more definition of the syllabus in the mains stage of exam. Then various phases it has mentioned. So various phases, let's understand, when Indians are fighting with the British, so it will include two type of the struggles. Ancient and medieval question can be asked from anywhere. And moreover, in last 5 years, what we are seeing that questions have been so difficult. क्वेश्चन ज़्यादा आते कहाँ से हैं, ठीक है? हिस्ट्री को हमेशा बिगनिंग से ही स्टार्ट करो. अगर जो अगले ईयर एग्जाम दे रहे हो तो हिस्ट्री अभी स्टार्ट कर दो. सो अशोका's inscriptions are favorite question of UPSC.
Struggling to stay consistent in your UPSC prep? Feeling lost in the vast syllabus and drowning in current affairs? You're not alone. But here's the truth. Cracking UPSC isn't about studying harder. It's about studying smarter. The UPSC journey can feel like a mountain. Vast syllabus, unpredictable current affairs and intense competition. But with the right strategy and expert guidance, you can conquer it step by step. At Vision IS Delhi, we don't just teach. We mentor, guide and simplify your preparation. Structured syllabus coverage, prelims, main CSAT and essay, covered in a streamlined, easy-to-flow approach. Current affairs without the hassle. Our PT 365 and Mains 365 programs ensure you stay updated without confusion. One-on-one mentorship. Get personalized guidance to strengthen weak areas and enhance your strengths. Regular tests and feedback. Track progress, analyze mistakes and improve consistently with our expert evaluations. Your UPSC dream deserves clarity and direction. We're here to provide both. Upcoming batches start in Karol Bagh from March 4th at 2 p.m, 11 March at 5 p.m, 13 March at 11 a.m. and 18 March at 8 a.m. and in GTB Nagar from 25th March at 8 a.m. Register now on our website or call us on the given numbers. Let's turn confusion into confidence and make your UPSC dream a reality together.
UPSC preparation is not just about reading books or watching online lectures. It requires personal guidance, real discussions, and structured practice. This is where offline mentoring makes all the difference. Unlike online learning, where doubts often remain unresolved, offline mentoring offers direct interaction, real-time feedback, and an environment of discipline and competition. One-to-one sessions help students get tailored advice, strategy corrections, and focused improvement. Every aspirant has different strengths and weaknesses. Personal mentoring helps address them effectively. Ground discussions sharpen analytical thinking and help students develop a multi-dimensional perspective on issues crucial for prelims, mains, and interview. Elocution sessions help in personality development, clarity of thought, and confidence, essential for UPSC interviews. Test writing is the most crucial part of UPSC preparation. It helps in time management, structuring answers, and improving content quality. Offline mentoring is not just about teaching. It's about grooming future officers with the right guidance, discipline, and confidence. So if you are preparing for UPSC, make sure you have the right mentor by your side.
So hi, good evening. Hope all good. So already 2 sessions, I think, polity and economy is completed. So this session is for history section, history which includes ancient, medieval, modern, and so as art and culture. And after this session would be the geography. So I just will take 1 minute because I want to connect. Isko connect kar do. So first of all, a little bit of introduction. I hope obviously you must have got the message that who are the speakers of the session. So my name is Neeraj Rao and I'm one of the oldest faculty of the institute, not in terms of age, but in terms of my experience over here. So right from the inception of the institute, I'm the one who is responsible for the history section. So it's almost been 14 years that I'm teaching in the institute, and not just the institute, but all over India. In many institutes I have taught in many cities, including some of the southern cities also like Chennai and Trivandrum, so as Cochin, then Bengaluru, Hyderabad, Jaipur, Pune, Lucknow, Allahabad, and Delhi has always been the main center. So as far as history section is concerned, what is the agenda of the class? That we'll discuss that some of the important trends associated with the history, and then also the reference material or how you can prepare history even if you are deciding that you are not going to take any assistance, then so without any assistance also how you can prepare for it. I'll just add one more description to my introduction, that I'm also author of 2 books. Then one is GS Compendium and another is a book on art and culture, then so which was released last year only, 5th of September. So my book is from one of the biggest publication house of the US, that is John Wiley Publication. So we'll talk about it later on, that in the reference material. So I hope that you are aware about the stages of exam. Obviously 2 sessions has happened, so they must have elaborated on it then. So I'll start with the syllabus then, because in any exam, when you decide preparing that preparation of this particular exam, you will start. So what you do, that first thing is you'll go through the syllabus then. So let's start with the syllabus itself then, and what has been mentioned. So is it visible? Fine. Now it will be visible. Fine. So it includes every part which is mentioned in the General Studies paper 1 in prelims examination. So you can count the section. There are total 7 sections mentioned in it, prelims exam. And first is current events of national and international importance. What concerns to our session is the second one. So history of India and Indian national movement. Then, so that is what is the syllabus of the history in the prelims examination. But question is that it's not very elaborated. Then that एक लाइन में लिख दिया है history of India and Indian national movement. So many times it is said that UPSC prelim syllabus, it covers everything under the sun. Okay? Everything under the sun, and then they can ask you anything. Right? So let's elaborate a little bit of part of it on the basis of the what has been asked from this section in last 50 to 60 years of the UPSC exam. So history of India will include ancient history, so as medieval history and modern history. But then there is a one part of the modern history which is Indian national movement. Year-wise, if we have to count, so it starts from 1885, that is Indian national movement with the foundation of the Congress. उसके पहले का time, ठीक है, that is pre-modern period, that will include basically decline of Mughals and emergence of many regional powers in India. उसके अलावा it will also include some Europeans who have arrived in India, then including the British and French and people from Portugal, then also Dutch. Then so they will be coming under this part. Then history part as far as the prelims is concerned. Let me give you insight about the questions. So as far as the number of the question from this section is concerned, last 10 year ka. So last 10 year total number of the question from ancient and medieval has been 42. Total number of the question, one section which is not mentioned, which is the part of the ancient, medieval and modern India, that is art and culture. So art and culture se they have asked 63 questions and modern Indian history 65 question. So breakup aise hai, last 10 saal ka, theek hai, last 10 year ka 42 questions you have from which section? Ancient and medieval. Then 63 from art and culture and 65 from modern. So it comes around 170 question in 10 year. So what is the average? 17 question every year would be asked from the history section. Okay? So 17 question would be asked. Then understand that 17 question ये तो बात हो गई कि prelims examination की. Let's move on to the mains syllabus then. So mains का syllabus. Now this is the history section in GS paper 1 of the mains examination. So it 3 parts. First part, Indian culture will cover the salient aspect of art forms, literature, architecture from ancient to modern times. So what they're saying that Indian art and culture, various art forms. So what are the art forms? Dances, music, take care, painting. Then so these are the art forms. Then literature. So literature will include starting from Tamil, Sanskrit, then all the literature, Marathi, Kannada, Odia, so various literature, Persian, Urdu. Then architecture from ancient to modern time, meaning that what was the architecture during Indus Valley civilization and what was there in India when the British have left India in 1947. So architecture, it's a big section. Then so These things, there is a little bit of more definition of the syllabus in the mains stage of exam. Coming to the modern Indian history syllabus, अब इसमें एक और चीज note down करने like Hindi is fine. If I use little bit, then if anybody is having a little bit of problems, let me know. So इसमें एक part है that as you can see the syllabus, no mention of ancient and medieval in the mains exam. But don't consider that ancient medieval is not asked in the mains exam. The route is through this. Okay? Route is the culture through which ancient and medieval questions are asked. Now another part. So this is the part of the modern Indian history. Just have a look at it. Modern Indian history from about the middle of 18th century. What is middle of 18th century? 1750 onwards. And until the present, significant events, personalities, and the issues. So 1750 onwards, what were the significant issues? Battle of Palasi, Battle of Buxar, important personalities like all the Nawabs of Bengal, then rulers in the Maratha area like Peshwas, then Tipu Sultan, Hyder Ali. Then these are the personalities and the issues with the British. So not only Battle of Buxar, Palasi, but also many battles which have happened at this point of time. For example, with the Marathas, with the Mysore rulers, with the Punjab rulers, with the Bengal rulers. So that will come under this section of the syllabus. Then it will also include later Mughals. Basically, 1707, death of Aurangzeb, and then after the Aurangzeb's lineage is called as later Mughals. Then so later Mughals, their history will also come under this part. Then comes this freedom struggle. इसको ध्यान से देखो, that freedom struggle, its various stages and important contribution from the different parts of the country. So there is a specific phase of the modern Indian history which is called as freedom struggle, as I mentioned to you, that revolt of 1857, and then after some sort of reorganization is happening after revolt of 1857, and then Congress is founded in 1885. So that marks the beginning of the freedom struggle or struggle with the British East India. So not company, okay? British Crown at this time. Then various phases it has mentioned. So various phases, let's understand, when Indians are fighting with the British, so it will include two type of the struggles. One is violent and another is a non-violent. So violent ones are basically called as revolutionary nationalism. So there would be three phases of it. One phase which is in the beginning somewhere around 1910, 1905. So that would be related to some of the organizations from Bengal, Anusilan Samiti, then personalities mein Savarkar, and these all people would be there. Then the second phase of the violent stage is Bhagat Singh, Rajguru, Sukhdev after 1924, and third phase of the revolutionary or violent phase comes in 1942 with Quit India movement, Subhash Chandra Bose, INA. So these all parts would be there. But the major part of the Indian freedom struggle is non-violent. Okay? So non-violent movements are basically that initiated by Congress and so as the Gandhi. Then, so there are different phases. Then stages. So very first is 1885 to 1905 is the first phase of freedom struggle. 1905 to 1915 is the second phase, and then comes the Gandhian phase after the arrival of Gandhi in India from South Africa in 1915. So in Gandhi's phase, what you study, take a different phases, will be his movements like non-cooperation, civil disobedience movement, individual satyagraha, and Quit India movement. So that it's just to elaborate the syllabus I'm just telling you. Then what else they have mentioned? Important contributor and their contributions from different parts of the country. So UPSC syllabus is telling you that don't concentrate on Bengal, UP and Maharashtra, but then cover entire India as far as the nationalists are concerned. If the nationalists are there from the northeast India, like Radhi Gadinlu, cover her. Then if a nationalist is there from the Pakistan side, Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan, cover him. Then South India also. So entire India, you will have to look out for those nationalists and read about them. And every year, unique questions are based on those nationalists who are not asked in the previous year paper. Right? So this is the syllabus. But then beyond this part, since our discussion is related to this, beyond this part, there is one more syllabus of the that history in the mains examination. Any idea what is that? World history. So world history and post-independence history. So in mains examination, you have additional world history and post-independence. Though the number of the question in last 12 years, I would say, is very less, has been very less from this section, but still सिलेबस में तो है. तो व्हाट इज पोस्ट इंडिपेंडेंस की 1947 के बाद के जितने डेवलपमेंट्स हैं दैट विल कम इन द पोस्ट इंडिपेंडेंस हिस्ट्री. फॉर एग्जांपल that after the India's independence, integration of the princely states, then challenges related to tribals, then 5-year plans. I think in economy also you read about it, 5-year plans, rolling plans, then apart from it, green revolution, land reforms. So it will be what is after 1947. It is not just historical nature, but political, then economic, geographical, many such factors are there, whereby you read about the emergency times also, you read about the 1984 Sikh riots also, you read about Kargil, you read about that LPG reforms. So everything will come under this bracket. Now, what about the world history? So world history, which is mentioned in the main stage of exam, it's not like that entire world history you need to read. They have specifically mentioned, isko dhyan se sunna, that important events in the world from 18th century, middle of the 18th century. तो यहाँ पे भी एक बहुत क्लियर तरीके से डिफाइन किया है कि मॉडर्न इंडियन हिस्ट्री स्टार्टिंग फ्रॉम द मिडिल ऑफ 18th, तो वर्ल्ड हिस्ट्री ऑल्सो मिडिल ऑफ द 18th, 1750 ऑनवर्ड्स. देन इट सेज कि व्हाट इज द इंपॉर्टेंट इवेंट इन 1750 ऑनवर्ड्स, इंडस्ट्रियल रेवोल्यूशंस. ठीक है, सो यू हैव टू रीड अबाउट Britain's industrial revolution, that industrial revolution in other countries in the Europe like France and Germany, then American revolution, Italy's unification. So that will come in the revolution part. Then the second part of the syllabus is that redrawing of the national boundaries. What is it? Creation of the new boundaries of the and emergence of the nation states. So Europe में भी नए देश बने, ठीक है, and in India also new countries that in Indian subcontinent also new countries getting created. So as in the many parts of the world. So redrawal of the national boundaries. Then it says colonization, decolonization. So biggest colonizer in the world, British and French. Then and what is decolonization? When they are freeing those country, like so for example that French colonies in Africa, then French colonies in the Polynesia, you understand, basically those countries which are the island nation closer to Australia. Then so decolonization meaning that those countries, those areas getting freedom. And then it has said that important philosophies which has driven that age, like socialism, communism and capitalism, and its impact on society. So this is what is mentioned in the syllabus of the world history. But as I was mentioning to you, number of the question in the prelims examination from the history section, let's look at the number of questions in the mains examination. Okay? So mains examination may, so this is just a, that till 2019, I'll tell you rest of the things also. So 2013, why I have taken, because it is the beginning of the new syllabus in the mains examination. So these number of the question are exclusive of world history and post-independence, meaning that it only includes art and culture and modern. तो ये जो numbers हैं ये art and culture modern के हैं, इसमें world history का I will add later. So as you can see that art and culture and modern Indian history, so 8 questions, 7, 5, 5, 6, 6, but then till 2024, the average number of the question from this section comes around 6. ठीक है, तो टोटल 6 क्वेश्चंस तुम्हें आर्ट एंड कल्चर एंड मॉडर्न से मिलेंगे. एंड देन देयर नंबर ऑफ द क्वेश्चंस आर इक्वली डिवाइडेड, आधे मॉडर्न से एंड आधे आर्ट एंड कल्चर से. एंड एवरी क्वेश्चन विल बी 12.5 मार्कर. व्हाट अबाउट द वर्ल्ड हिस्ट्री? सो वर्ल्ड हिस्ट्री alternate year there has been a question. If we talk about last 10 years, so in last 10 years total 8 questions were there from the world history, which means every year you can expect 0.8. But that वैसा तो 0.8 तो कुछ आता नहीं है, but then 0.8 meaning some years they will not be asking any questions. Then what about the post-independence history? In last 12 years they have asked only 4 questions in post-independence, और उसमें भी 3 क्वेश्चन इन द वेरी फर्स्ट ईयर इन द न्यू सिलेबस, और उसके बाद सिर्फ 1 क्वेश्चन इन लास्ट 11 ईयर्स. सो दिस इज व्हाट इज अबाउट द क्वेश्चन. नाउ सो मूविंग ऑन टू अनदर पार्ट, दैट any discussion related to the cutoffs in the prelims examination happened in any of the sessions, last session or this session also? Polity and economy में नहीं हुआ है. चलो I'll talk little bit about it. So understand that in your prelims examination the number of the questions are 100. ठीक है, इतना तो पता है ना कि 100, and what will be in there in the CSAT? 80. So देखो CSAT was added till 2014, but 2015 onwards, 2014 में there was so much of protest and movement, and before the elections, national elections, that there was a change in the UPSC that exam pattern, that CSAT became qualifying, and only GS became GS was included for merit making. So now 2004 अब यहाँ से जो cut off है, you can see. So just have a look, right? So till 2014, the cutoff is in 200 because both the papers were added. So in 2013 is 241, 205. 2015 onwards, your reckoning is happening on 200 marks. So 107 was the cutoff. Then 2016, this was the highest cutoff till this date in GS paper. So 116, then 105 and 98. And I have few more datas I have clicked. I'll just tell you all of it. So last 4-5 years then. So ये मेरा पीपीटी में नहीं है तो या सो 2018 तक इसमें है. 19 कट ऑफ वाज 98, 2020 कट ऑफ वाज 92.51, 2021 87.54, 2022 88.22, and last year 2023 was 75.41. Now when you're looking at the cutoff, so 100 से start होके 75 तक आ गया है. What does it mean? That first of all 200 में 75 marks is hardly 36%. ठीक है? And that cutoff is always between that in last 7 years it is below 50%. Then so what does it mean? That paper is becoming tougher day by day. It is indicative. If cutoff is going low, so paper is becoming tougher day by day. And so in this scenario, what is required? That is it required in prelims examination that you'll be solving all the questions correctly? Obviously not. Then you can't solve. And suppose then even if you clear the prelims examination and you get 198 out of 200, so will it count later on? Obviously not, because on the basis of it, Prime Minister will not come to you and say that you have topped the prelims exam, now you don't need to give mains examination. Is it like that? No. So it will not happen. So prelims examination is one stage which is a bit difficult also for many people, and at the same point of time that you have to be doing the cost benefit analysis. Why I'm doing this discussion? Because now the next thing that we are going to discuss is the reference material. So in reference material, though I may tell you many books which will be visible in this one, but I would always request to you, not suggest to you, if you really very much determined to clear this exam, so reduce your number of the books that you are going to study. Okay? Reduce your number of resources. Then it is always better that you read one book 10 times than 10 book one time, because if you're reading 10 book one time, nothing you'll be able to retain. Then you'll be hardly able to retain 10 to 15%, but one book 10 times you'll be able to retain 85 to 90%. 100% is a that bizarre number which can happen only with the few people. So then 85% you can retain when you are reading just one resource. So always keep it in mind that you have to reduce your number of resources, because now the things are more difficult for you. You know why? Because you are in the digital age, and you are in a digital age of the disruption. What is the disruption right now? AI. That artificial intelligence. There are benefits of it, but then more than benefits, they are the diversions of the artificial intelligence. Then, for example, that language and the material structure may look good to you, but one problem is that fact. Artificial intelligence cannot give you the right facts all the time. So uske alawa, that I hope that when you are going for the preparation of UPSC, so you'll be living over here, you are little attracted towards the market of ORN. You are going to ORN market, whereby you see that many shops, and then over there new printouts, new copies, then new material. This is very enticing and this is very diversionary. So you will have to restrain yourself from what? Buying more material every time. So I'll just give you one example. Let me give you an example. This UPSC market is, and this particularly Karol Bagh market is very enticing. एक question आया था modern Indian history से, very difficult, right? And this question was, I'll tell you, in 2020 paper, when the COVID first wave के बाद, then, so 20 paper and question was that it is related to one book, Deser Katha, and question was asked that this book was about what? Then none of the guidebooks which generally everybody study and none of your NCRTs have mentioned about it. Then after prelims exam was over, everybody was searching for that कहाँ से आया, ठीक है? And then overnight पता भी चल जाता है कि कहाँ से आया. So there was a book named that Modern Indian History's book only, written by a lady called Ishita Dubey Banerjee, and she is professor in the Mexico, some University of the Mexico. Then, so now what happened, within a week in the old Rajendra Nagar market, this entire market was plenty with the book of the Ishita Dubey Banerjee. And then, next 4 years, what happened? Not even a single question has come from that book. Then, so UPSC has unlimited resources at its expense to ask a question. So, this question will never decide your fate. What will decide your fate? That is the medium and the easy question if you're not able to do. So, since I'm the most experienced teacher right now in front of you, out of the lot who are going to, who have taken the session and who are about to come. So I'll tell you one thing, that last 15 years, what has been my observation, that you clear the exam on the basis of the easy and moderate question, and you don't clear the exam by solving the difficult question. Difficult questions are difficult for everybody, but if you flunk on the easy and moderate question, that's where is the problem. And for easy and moderate question, what is required? That hard work and perseverance. Then, so this exam is not about that having so much of intelligence, but it is more about that how smartly you are studying and how consistent you are in this exam. That your perseverance is something which will be counted. So make it a point, and then you are here. That rest of the things that you will be crossing the paths time and again, but rest of the things you'll get to know. But I would once again request you become a district collector, not the book collector. And so let's move on to the next part.
Preparing for the UPSC Civil Services examination demands a solid grasp of every mains paper. Among them, the optional subject paper plays a crucial role in determining your final rank. A strong command over your optional subject can give you the competitive edge needed for success. To help you master this crucial aspect, Vision IAS presents the Optional Classroom Program 2026, available in live online and classroom offline modes for Geography, Sociology, Political Science and International Relations. Batch starts from 20th June, 2 p.m.
Now you got the cutoff thing. That cutoff नीचे जा रहा है तो पेपर डिफिकल्ट हो रहा है. अब जहाँ तक बात आती है, ठीक है, that ancient and medieval. हाँ, so cutoff I think I have added in this part. ठीक है. तो percentage wise also I have written. You see that hardly it was 2016 that it is 58%, and then it has gone below 50%. Now, so coming to the reference material, ठीक है, सबसे पहले ancient and medieval पे चलते हैं, ठीक है. तो ancient and medieval, I'll tell you little. I have a class also, ठीक है, but then we'll have all the discussion over here. So understand that ancient and medieval, it's a very wide syllabus, very wide syllabus. And do you consider that if you read a 1500 pages book, will that be enough for the exam? No, it will not be enough, because even in the 1500 page, that there is another book which has 3500 pages. Then there is another book of the history which has 10,000 pages. So history, ancient and medieval question can be asked from anywhere. And moreover, in last 5 years, what we are seeing, that questions have been so difficult that only good thing that you can do, that is to leave the question. Right? So there would be half the questions would be easy and moderate. You have to do that then, but then half the questions will be very difficult. So you either your luck is on your side, so you can do it right, but otherwise you have to put a restraint on it. So what I'm trying to tell you that don't become overwhelmed by too many resources of the ancient and medieval. Now, in this section, if I have to give you that, say to you that what you must be referring, so I would say to you refer only NCRTs. Okay? But by referring NCRTs, 60 to 70%, 60 to 70 approximately, you can always address in the prelims examination. Mains का पूरा हो जाता है, ठीक है, 90% हो जाता है, ठीक है, but in prelims examination 60 to 70% in between you can address with the NCRTs. Then so let's have a look at that what all NCRTs पहले ancient medieval में. तो this is so one book of the one NCRT, old NCRT. So इसमें नाम नहीं लिखा हुआ है, ठीक है, it's a textbook of class 11th, it is old NCRT, ancient India, and writer of this NCRT Ram Sharan Sarma, ठीक है, तो R.S. Sharma was the writer. It's a good book and कुछ इसमें details change हुए हैं obviously because this book was written in 1979 and history is something archaeology में particularly. When new excavation happens, so new details come up and some of the old details are changed. So there are 4 or 5 information which has changed from this book, but otherwise it's a good book. Then you can go with this. Then apart from it, for medieval India, you can start with the, so book is not over here. Medieval India, same time, okay, that is Satish Chandra. Then, so Satish Chandra you can refer. These 2 books you refer. इसके अलावा, ठीक है, new NCRT. You can, if you want to note it down, so you can note it down. New NCRT class 11th में है, मैं लिख दे रहा हूँ, ठीक है, just give me 1 minute. So themes in Indian history, नहीं, then I will have to reconnect issue will be there. So themes in Indian history part 1 and part 2. So these are the 4 NCRTs for ancient and medieval you will be referring. 2 पुराने, 2 नए, ठीक है. So themes in Indian history part 1 and 2, that is ancient and medieval, and then old one, ठीक है, Ram Sharan Sarma and Satish Chandra. Then come to the modern Indian history. So modern Indian history में there are many resources in front of you, ठीक है, जैसे कुछ मैंने list करके रखे हैं. I feel that this NCRT to be much better than the Bipin Chandra's NCRT of the class 12th. So modern India, Arjun Dev, class 8th old NCRT. It's a very good NCRT, and moreover, number of pages of this NCRT is equally similar to what is there in the class 12th also. In fact, details are much better in this one. Language is also quite good. So you can go with one of the NCRT, but here there is an option before you. In modern Indian history, you can choose a guidebook also. Okay? It is all up to you. Some of the which I have gone through, I have studied. So this is the class 8 NCRT. Then maybe you will find Xerox in the market then. So you can go with this. Then Spectrum, I hope all of you know. So all of you, how many you haven't heard about the Spectrum? So Spectrum, I hope you know. So modern Indian history ke liye, you can keep either this as one of the guidebook resource or this one. India's Struggle for Independence by Bipin Chandra, Mridula Mukherjee, Aditya Mukherjee and Suchita Mahajan. Then, so this is very relevant in both the stage of exam, prelims, but mains में बहुत अच्छा है, ठीक है. Spectrum, coverage wise it is good then. So coverage wise it covers the period before 1857, but this book does not covers before 1857. So my request to you would be कि एक तो NCRT खरीदो, ठीक है, और दूसरी इन दोनों बुक में से कोई भी एक, just one, not both. So for example, then you'll ask you, suppose if you go with this one, so how you'll be doing the events before 1857 that you're already doing with the NCRTs. Then, so you're already doing with the NCRTs and uske aage ka from this book you can refer. Then what about the art and culture? So art and culture parts are there. Architecture ka part is there in the ancient India, R.S. Sharma and Satish Chandra also. But not every part of the culture is mentioned in the history text. Then, so for art and culture, there are 2 NCRTs. एक तो architecture पे and one is on the painting. So only 2 parts are there in the class 11th and 12th, introduction to the fine art. But I would not recommend you to buy because it's a very complex NCRT. ठीक है? Complex and the words and everything are not too good. बेस्ट यू कैन डू दैट यू कैन डाउनलोड इट फ्रॉम द NCERT वेबसाइट. खरीदने के बजाय डाउनलोड करके यू कैन गो थ्रू द इमेजेस, फ्लिप थ्रू द इमेजेस एंड देन रीड द डिस्क्रिप्शन ऑफ द इमेजेस. एंड देन वन ऑप्शन फॉर दैट वुड बी माई ओन बुक. ठीक है, and my own book you can refer if you want then for art and culture, but if you're referring any other source, so I would say stick to that. If you're referring it, so then stick to this source. Then there is an additional resource that you can use, everybody, for it's open for everyone. It's my YouTube channel Culture Quantum, and where I cover the parts of the history, everything ancient, medieval, and so it's the culture of India by visiting the places and then giving you the descriptions from the places. So last year also, before the prelims examination, I did cover some topics from the places, and 12 topics I predicted, in which 7 were there in the prelims examination. So from the history section, so 12 topics according to my own calculation, my experience, that what is expected to come. So that is one, and I upload some of the notes. Even if you are enrolling in institute, not enrolling in institute, it is your decision, but you can take benefits of my own handwritten notes from my Telegram channel Culture Quantum, t.me Culture Quantum. So now after this all discussion, I'll give you one brief overview that कि इन सारे sections में question ज़्यादा आते कहाँ से हैं. ठीक है, तो चलो let's go back to the ancient से start करते हैं. ठीक है, so in ancient India, or I don't think that it is required right now, so I'll just, rest you have seen, fine. So when it comes to ancient India, so particularly one common type of the question in history section is timeline. Every year there is a question. They will give you obviously the 4 options in which you have to arrange in a chronological order. कि कौन सा पहले था, कौन सा बाद में था, events you will have to organize, or maybe dynasties, that which dynasty was in the beginning, maybe the rulers then. So timeline question is very important, but interesting is that they are not asking the simple straightforward timeline कि मौर्य का पूछ लिया, गुप्ता का पूछ लिया, या फिर then दिल्ली सल्तनत और मुगल पूछ लिया. No, they are going deeper. They are asking regional dynasties then. So regional dynasties during the ancient India and regional dynasties during the medieval India. So focus is on regional dynasties then. Moreover, in ancient and medieval, not only the timeline of the regional dynasty, but also the initiatives of the regional dynasties then. So initiatives of the regional dynasties. एक उसके अलावा एक favorite question है ports. So important ports of kingdoms then. So that is also very frequently asked. Then the next thing from the ancient and medieval is terms and terminologies then. So terms and terminology. And what is terms and terminology? For example, last year there was a question which was called as Phanam then. So what is Phanam? It's a type of a coin which was released during the Delhi Sultanate period. Then कभी उसके पहले पूछ लिया, ठीक है, that Phanam के पहले, that Iripatti, that. So what is Iripatti? What is Tanur? So these are the terms and terminologies from the ancient India, medieval India, which they are asking. What is Araghatta then? So Araghatta, so it was a Persian wheel to catapult, or not catapult, to lift water. So these type of the terms and terminologies are asked. Then इसके अलावा another very important section from the ancient and medieval, is basically inscriptions. ठीक है, so inscription part, and inscription में भी whose inscription? Ashoka's. So Ashoka's inscriptions are favorite question of UPSC. Then inscription से अगर जो आगे move on करते हैं, तो next type of the question from this period, Vedic age से also they have asked. In mains examination, they have asked continuously 2 questions. In 2024, there was a 1 question, and 2023 was also their question. In prelims exam also, they do ask from the Vedic age. Then South Indian kingdoms like Chola, Chera, Pandyas, then their rule, their ports, then their economy, their unique initiatives. So these are some of the favorite sections from the ancient. Then medieval में Medieval में in general we feel that they will must be asking from the Delhi Sultans or Mughals, but question is more based on Vijayanagar kingdom. Question is more based on the regional kingdoms of the medieval period like Hoysala, Kakatiyas, then so Bahmanis, and then Vijayanagar kingdom has always been the favorite. Then that Yadavas, then Pandyas of Malabar. So these type of the question in from the medieval section, and terms and terminology is also from the medieval section. Then coming to after it, modern Indian history. Then so from modern Indian history, as I mentioned to you, that most of the questions, 65 questions were there, but majority of the questions are there from the acts and policies of British. Okay? So acts and policies, and what are acts and policies? Basically रेगुलेटिंग एक्ट ऑफ 1773 से लेकर, ठीक है, रेगुलेटिंग एक्ट 1773 टू गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया एक्ट 1935, ठीक है. सो out of 65 questions, you will be amazed to know 21 questions are from this section, meaning 1/3 modern के question is act से हैं, ठीक है. तो बहुत सारे act हैं that 1773 is first one, then Pitt's India Act 1784, then Charter Act of 1793, 1813, 1833, 1853, then Government of India Act 1858, Indian Councils Act 1861, Indian Councils Act 1892, and Indian Councils Act 1909, Montagu-Chelmsford Reforms or Government of India Act 1919, and then the last one, Government of India Act 1935. So this is a short section कि इससे क्वेश्चन आना ही आना है, ठीक है. तो you must be preparing it well. Then the questions are also from the advent of Europeans. So last 5 year में there has been 4 questions from the advent of Europeans, and particularly Portuguese were the favorite of the UPSC. Then इसी सेक्शन में एक और टाइप का क्वेश्चन आता है that is kind of a historical geography. I would not say it's basically history, but it is historical geography, that crops and crops which are native to India and crops which are not native to India. You understand what is native? कि जैसे मान लो we all must have taken in today's time, ठीक है, एक मतलब आलू, ठीक है, potato is one of the favorite, but potato was not the native vegetation of India. Potato was brought to India by Portuguese. Then so that is so native vegetation meaning that कि इंडिया में ही पहली बार ग्रो हुआ. Cotton is the native vegetation of India. Mango is the native vegetation of India. लौकी, ठीक है, that what you call pumpkin is native vegetation of India. Then Karela, then so bitter gourd, it is native vegetation of India, but not the papaya, not the cashews, ठीक है. So not the cashews, but not the उसके अलावा भी बहुत सारे that guava, ठीक है, then pineapple. So these are not the native vegetation of India. They were brought by the Europeans or somebody else in India. So there is a every alternate year you will find a question on the it. So last year there was a one question जिसमें papaya, cashew nut, and then red sanders was there. What is red sander? Lal chandan. So Lal chandan, is it native of India or not? You can guess. It is. So because if you have seen the movie Puspa, so then you will get it. Then so sometimes you get to know it with some movies also. So that is the native vegetation of India, but then there are the ones who are not. So this type of the question is also asked, and basically majority of this new vegetation like potato, tomato, chilies, they were introduced by Portuguese. So this is one part. Another part is the freedom struggle part, like Swadeshi movement, non-cooperation movement, CDM, ठीक है, Quit India movement. So इनसे related development would be asked to you. Then उसके अलावा then there are many left-wing movements which are also asked. Then that initiatives of some of the initiatives you can say, or tenure of the some of the viceroys, what were their initiatives. So like Dalhousie, then Canning, okay? Then you can talk about Montagu-Chelmsford, Minto. So different viceroys and their works. So these are the areas from which they generally ask the question. And as far as अब मुझे अगर जो point out करना हो, तो the section where you can fetch more marks in the history part is modern Indian history. So suppose करो कि in modern Indian history 6 questions are there, तो you'll always be able to, if you have studied well the resources which we are telling to you, तो आराम से 6 में से 5 question कर लोगे, ठीक है. Then the second solvable section is the art and culture. So I haven't told you what are the sections of the, what are the important parts, So questions in art and culture in last 12 years, 45% questions are from architecture. And then the second important section is the Buddhism and Jainism, most important. Every year paper you will find at least 1 or 2 questions from Buddhism and Jainism. Then, so Buddhism and Jainism, without it, and sometimes it is difficult. Then the rest of the things. Literature is the third important section. Every year you can find 1 or 2 questions from the literature. So 3 chapters are very important. Architecture, then literature, and so as the Buddhism and Jainism. Then apart from it, some minor topics are like classical dance, classical music, take a painting. So in say alternate year pe there is a question. Alternate year. So for example, last 11 years, 7 questions were there from the classical dance. Matlab 11 year mein 7 times. Then what about the music? 4 questions were there in last 10 years from the music. Then similarly, painting say 4 questions were there in last 10 years. So these are the minor sections which can be asked 1 year or next year like this way. Fine. So this is what is about that that art and culture part. And moreover, art and culture part में भी suppose करो कि if 6.67 questions are there. So if you have studied well the resources which we are telling, book को छोड़ के, ठीक है, that for example that if you go with the classes of mine over here, तो उससे आराम से 5 मतलब हो जाते हैं. Last 7-8 year में ऐसा रहा है कि that out of the 7 questions, ठीक है, 5 you is doable from the class notes itself, and if you work little extra, so then it can be done that 7 में से 6 भी कर ले जाओगे. But ancient and medieval is little difficult. And so ancient and medieval में that you don't need to be driven by the materials which are there in the market. एक बार decide कर लो, ठीक है, that what you need to study, stick to it and stick to it till the end of your selection. And so if you have any question in this regard, you can ask. Then now it's all to you that if you want to ask any question. Anything? Nothing? Think about it. I'll just have water meanwhile. Any resource that you want to talk about, ठीक है? या फिर then पानी खत्म हो गया है. So ओरिएंट ब्लैक स्वान भी वही है जो NCERT में थी, ठीक है? तो बिल्कुल उसके साथ जा सकते हो. हाँ पूछो. Upinder Singh is a very bulky book, and Upinder Singh, I'll tell you, Upinder Singh is a book which must be studied by the teachers, not by the students. Okay? So why I'm telling you, if you go with studying Upinder Singh, so Upinder Singh, she is daughter of Manmohan Singh ji. She was professor in Delhi University and but one of the eminent historians of India. So Upinder Singh's book is very fantastic, right? But from the perspective of the optional, if you have history optional, go with that. When it comes to कि prelims में GS paper में उनको पढ़ना चाहिए नहीं, I would not recommend because it will take a lot of your time. It's a bulky book. And दूसरा, अगर जो history के student नहीं हो तो structure समझ में नहीं आएगा उपिंदर सिंह में, ठीक है? But since you asked this question, I would like to add some of the most difficult questions of the prelims last 3 years were asked from Upinder Singh. So that makes Upinder Singh very relevant. But then उस 3 question के लिए that if you are going through her book which is almost more than 1500 pages and it's a big book, तो number of pages NCERTs के according 3000 हो जाएगा, ठीक है? तो there would be no guarantee that you will be able to retain the information. So that's why I'm saying that it's a book for the teachers that we must study, we must filter it out and then give it the unique information to you related to it on the basis of the previous year trend. Then, so that effort, I would say, you can always be connected to the channel, okay, whereby already I have created for this year videos. So maybe within 10-15 days it will be all released. Then, so you can have a benefit from it. Last year, some 12 difficult topics, as I am mentioning to you, I predicted through my channel, and then 7 were there in the exam. I would not say कि every year this would be the case, but it will be effort from my side that what I can do, that with my experience, what I am feeling कि कुछ important है, तो I would say कि मतलब उसको छोड़ सकते हो, ठीक है? अगर जो history optional नहीं है तो छोड़ सकते हो. Any other book that you want to ask or any other information related to it? बिपिन चंद्रा बहुत अच्छी किताब है, ठीक है. I would say it's मतलब it was one of my favorite when I was student of history. So the reason is that language was good. It's in a story format, and my teaching method is also bit inspired from him only. That is a story format only. So it's in story format, and then moreover the language you learn from the Bipin Chandra you cannot learn from the any other guidebooks. ठीक है. तो Bipin Chandra is a beautiful book, and so you can go with it without a doubt. I would not say that you, and बहुत जल्दी खत्म हो जाती है, मोटी किताब है, but the story is so gripping that it hardly takes 8 to 9 days. You will be covering it in the 8 to 9 days. But if you're going with the Upinder Singh, it will take more than 45 days. ठीक है. Yes. Yes. Hmm. Yes, yes. As far as the history is concerned, okay, see that many of us we need guru. I'm not saying this for the purpose of that you must enroll over here. It's all up to your decision. But we need to have a guru. That whenever we have confusions now, so then they are the one with their experiences. Since this is an exam where many subjects are there, so you cannot dedicate your entire time to history study and creating the chronology of the history. So there you need the assistance of the people. Maybe they could be your friends, they could be your guides, they could be your seniors, or in this scenario, they could be the mentors also. Then, so you can take their help, and once they teach you those methods that how to chronologize, because it takes time, then so how to do the classification and what type of the classification, how you'll be remembering, use of the mnemonics, and then use of the many methods, then acronyms, then so how you'll be remembering, so that will take time. So but then for that you need to have a mentor then. So for example, suppose that if you're coming to me, so it will take me that 30 to 45 minutes to teach you that, and we do that in the very first class itself. जैसे मेरी कभी भी पहली क्लास होती है, चाहे एंशियंट मेडिवल हो या फिर देन मॉडर्न हो, तो what I do that in the first class itself I summarize entire history. So this gives you insight कि तुम कैसे कर सकते हो, जैसे मैंने किया है. तो I do write and I use the pen a lot. I don't believe in the that आज के लिए मतलब I have brought it, but I believe in handwriting. ठीक है. So I do write a lot, and then on the basis of it itself, here only you learn about that part. And so any other question if you guys want to know? Yeah, please. Yeah. हाँ, हिस्ट्री को हमेशा बिगिनिंग से ही स्टार्ट करो. अगर जो अगले ईयर एग्ज़ाम दे रहे हो तो हिस्ट्री अभी स्टार्ट कर दो, आई वुड से. क्योंकि हिस्ट्री फिर देन लेटर पीरियड में छोड़ दोगे तो फिर टाइम नहीं बचेगा, और पूरा अगर जो सिलेबस कवरेज नहीं होगा तो फिर ना योर कॉन्फिडेंस विल गो डाउन. एंड इवन इफ यू हैव डन अदर सब्जेक्ट्स वेल, if you haven't completed your syllabus, so your confidence will go down. And moreover, बहुत बार क्या होता है कि हमारा सिलेक्शन इसलिए नहीं होता है कि हमने बहुत अच्छा पढ़ा था, बहुत बार ये होता है कि हमारा कॉन्फिडेंस ख़राब होता है. पता तो हमें सब होता है, बट गुड दैट और कॉन्फिडेंस कैसे आएगा जब when timely coverage. So history is one subject that you must start early. If you're planning for 2026, so then you must start from right now. Then uh, if it is a UPPCS, if it is a MPPCS, then or state PCS examination, you need to memorize. If it is UPSC, you need to understand the chronology. ठीक है, chronology का मतलब कि जैसे एक एग्जाम्पल बता रहा हूँ तुम्हारे क्वेश्चन को. So if it is UPSC civil services exam, so then I would say to you चंद्रगुप्त first, then उनके बाद समुद्रगुप्त के बाद चंद्रगुप्त second, then कुमारगुप्त and then स्कंदगुप्त. ये chronology हो गया. But then if it is UPPCS question, so then I will say to you Chandragupta first 319 to 335, then Samudragupta 335 to 375, and Chandragupta second is 385 to 415, and Kumargupta 415 to 55, and Skandagupta 455 to 67. So this is UPPCS. ठीक है? What I told you earlier, that was civil services. So that's the beauty of the civil services exam, that here they don't pester you to read the dates, to memorize the dates. बस chronology याद रखो, कौन आगे कौन पीछे. That's it. In UPSC, that's a good thing about the UPSC. ठीक है? But in state PCS examination, obviously they do ask some more deeper nature, and then sometimes redundant questions. Fine? So anything else that you want to ask? So you can always ask questions. If it is not coming right now, you can ask through the channel also, that Telegram channel. अगर जो कुछ आगे भी क्वेश्चन आता है तो just send your name and then उसमें ये बताना कि तुम इस सेशन में थे and send your queries. I will try to address it within 24 hours. Fine? So चलो तो I'll wind up the session and hope to meet you. Hope to see you soon. Some of you would be joining. So hope to see you soon in the classes, and wishing you all the best for the upcoming exam. Thank you. So Jai Krishna sir will be joining you for geography section, and I have class. So I'll go to my class. Fine. Generally, I take maximum number of the batches. Yeah, but then some year there is a that logistic issue also. For example, I'll tell you in 2023 we had 36 batches. It was improbable for me to take in all. So I'll tell you exactly, in 26 batches modern I have taken, and then that art and culture, I think it was somewhere around 18. Art and culture is 30, and ancient and medieval history I took somewhere around 18 batches. So जब batches के number ज़्यादा होते हैं तो issue होता है, ठीक है? But then it's fine, ठीक है? ठीक है? चलो, so you can expect that I would be meeting if I would be there in modern, तो fine. Maybe if I'm not in modern, so then I must meet you in art and culture or ancient medieval. So दो subject, इन तीनों में से दो में से तो किसी में मुलाकात जरूर होती है classes में. Fine? और किसी बैचेस में all the three. Fine?